So today we're going to do a True Story Thursday. Anne gave me the idea of True Story Tuesday, and I was like, for inspirational stories, and I was like, oh, that's a great idea, but we're also going to do True Story Thursday, which are more cautionary tales. So today we're going to talk about how to tell if the pre-approval the lender gave you is a steaming heap of garbage. Yes, a steaming heap of garbage. And you're probably watching this going, why would a lender give me a bad pre-approval? Guys, it's a question I ask every day. I come across clients all the time where I'm like, why did they do this to you? This was never gonna work. And sometimes it's people who have been looking for a year. Sometimes it's people who've been looking for a week. And the bottom line is the way that this happened is the lender is not doing their homework. They're not really pre-approving you. They're putting a letter together and they're giving it to the realtor and they're crossing their fingers it's gonna work. Now, I don't know if this is just because they don't know how to pre-approve, or if they're so busy, they're just trying to get as many clients as they can, or if they're just lazy. The bottom line of this is that none of these are good excuses. It's horrible. Okay, so what happened? Why am I doing this video? So I got a comment on my Facebook page from a gal who was saying, oh my God, I'm so upset right now. I just got into contract and my broker just told me I don't qualify. And I'm like, wow, okay, call me right now. It's 5:30 in the morning, which is way too early normally, so no one please do that, but call me. This is horrible. Let's see if we can save it. It was a VA loan. And so I talked to her and she's like, he said our credit score was too low. And we talked about the credit score, and in fact it was. And I said, well, did he never run your credit? And she's like, I don't know. He gave us a pre-approval. I'm like, well, did he pre-approve you maybe like 3 months ago and your credit was good and something's happened since? No, he gave us the letter last week. Okay. This lender had not run their credit until they were in contract. They gave them a pre-approval letter, said, hey, look, everything's great. I'm going to get this over to your realtor, no problem. He actually told the borrowers yesterday as well to give notice on their apartment. He had never run credit. Now look, if this was a large bank, there's no way that would have happened. Like, there's so many companies where there's no way you can even issue that letter compliantly without running credit. However, there's a lot of rogue operations across the country. There's also rogue loan originators. There's people who make up their own letters and just say whatever they want it to say without it being fact. So I'm going to give you guys a couple tips to make sure that the pre-approval the lender gave you is real. And I'm really sad we even have to do this video, because I would hope that other people in my industry are doing real pre-approvals. If you're a lender watching this, because I do have a lot of you guys that follow me and I appreciate you and I'm happy to help, for the love of God, guys, don't do this stuff. You need to do real pre-approvals. If someone is confused on what a real pre-approval is, we're gonna have a link to my pre-approval video after this. So here's some questions you can ask your lender to make sure they're not full of my gardening additions that I like to put in to make my roses grow, right? Okay. Number one, we're just gonna call the lender Bob. This is just my favorite name, you know this. Hey Bob, I just, thank you so much for the pre-approval letter. What was our credit score when you ran it? Simple, okay? Right there, the lender goes, oh, well, when I ran your credit scores, your 3 scores were XYZ. And if they say, oh, 700, go, oh, what were all 3 scores? Yeah. And look, when people ask me that, I'm like, hold on, I got to get in your file. I didn't memorize this. But we will have run credit. We will have 3 scores. If the lender cannot answer that question, red flag, guys, red flag. I mean, give them time. If they're in their car, clearly they're not going to know. But red flag, they haven't run your credit. You want to verify they actually run your credit. Now, you may have credit services that will notify you. That's good as well. But you know what? Still have that conversation. Hey, how is my credit score? Okay, number 1. Number 2, did you have a chance to review the documents that I sent? Yeah, that's another one. So what I hear a lot is, I was pre-approved and then I got into contract and the lender told me I wasn't approved because of my pay stubs, but I had uploaded my pay stubs a month ago. Okay, here's the thing. As lenders, I always tell someone, hey, first of all, we don't do pre-approvals without documents at this point because I just don't like I'm not going to waste someone's money. That's not okay. Like, that's not the way I've been trained. That's not the way I want my team to treat people. We review stuff. We don't issue. And look, I make enemies. I have a bad review right now. I have a bad review because I wouldn't give someone a pre-approval letter quick enough because I was making sure every T was crossed and every I is dotted. That is how we roll. But we don't always know when you upload stuff. So if you're working with XYZ Mortgage and you get that original pre-approval, which can be computer generated, which is not worth anything, and you upload documents, you want to check in with the individual loan officer and say, hey, Bob, were you able to review my loan documents? Was my overtime okay? Ask a very specific question. And the reason I'm saying that is because you want to make sure they actually did. Sometimes they'll be like, yeah, they looked good. Did they look at it? I don't know. You don't know. So ask a specific question. Now look, if someone asks me that, once again, I'm going to have to go back into the file and be like, yeah, when we looked at it, we saw XYZ. We're reviewing this stuff before you even get a letter though. So you're not getting a letter from me until I look at it. But for everyone else, just make sure they've actually looked at the docs. Ask a specific question. You guys would be horrified to know how many people don't look at your docs. Yeah. Okay. And then the third big thing that I would say, ask that lender, do you have a DU approve eligible? Now, what is that? So whenever we're doing a loan, we run it through what's called desktop underwriting. We also have LP. There's two different systems, but DUs pretty universally, everyone's going to do DU. Some people do LP as well, but not everyone does. So do you have a DU approve eligible? What is a DU approve eligible? It is a golden ticket, guys. It is what tells us your loan, as long as if we have everything in the system correct, we have your income right, we have everything correct, and the computer gives us that DU accept eligible. It analyzes all the stuff, it looks at risk, and then it gives us that approve eligible. If we have that, as long as nothing changes and I can prove everything on that application, you're good. Your loan's gonna close. What's surprising to me is how many people issue pre-approval letters without a DU approve eligible. In this case of this gal, he didn't run DU. I mean, hell, he hadn't run credit. You can't run DU without credit. It's that simple. And these three questions: have you pulled credit? Did you look at my documents? Do we have a DU approve eligible? And if they say, why are you asking that? Just say it. My friend's a lender and she told me to ask. Because I am your friend and I'm telling you to ask. You need to ask, guys, because the thing is that often we'll see something where I'm surprised sometimes. I'll look at a loan application, I'll look at all the documents, I'll look at the debt to income, I'll look at the reserves, and I'll be like, oh, this is a good loan, no problem, let's run DU. And then I get a refer. A refer is not a golden ticket. A refer with certain loans makes it ineligible. A refer with other loan programs makes it so there's 19 other things I have to satisfy. A refer is not good. A refer is not what we want. And sometimes we are surprised by what the computer comes back with. You could have a credit score that meets the guidelines. You could, have a low debt to income, and the computer may find something in your history it doesn't like. So you really want to make sure the lender has run a DU on you as well. So look, there's other things I could tell you to look for, but I think if you really want to make sure that your lender's done the pre-approval, those are the three big questions to ask. If the lender fails on those, if they're like, oh, well, we don't usually run credit till you're in contract, that's not a thing. Oh, well, we don't run DU until you're in contract. That's not a thing. Oh, well, my underwriter will look at your docs. Okay, cool. So I guess maybe we'll know if your pre-approval is real after you've paid for inspections, appraisal, and you're in contract. No. Okay. So if you guys have any questions or comments, if you're like, Jen, this is what my lender's saying, always reach out to me. Always. You can put a thing in comments. I'm trying to get so good at responding to comments on YouTube. I'm waking up every morning and trying to do it. But if you don't get me and it's urgent, you guys have my cell phone number. It's 707-478-0637. Shoot me a text. I'm always happy to say, yeah, that's right. That lender, what they're telling you is true. Or, oh guys, make sure they do this and this. Because the thing that always breaks my heart is I hate hearing people sad. I hate it. I mean, who doesn't? Well, only weirdos would like hearing sad people, right? But I hate it. And I hate that, sometimes this stuff lands in my lap and people have been looking for a year and they were never properly qualified and they never would have qualified. Their time's wasted. They've been daydreaming about stuff that they could have been working on fixing, all because a lender was lazy or didn't have the tools or education to succeed. And the bottom line is that if you want to be a lender in America, you need to know how to do your stuff, okay? Because there's people like me who are coming for you. So I hope this has been helpful. Remember those 3 questions, and talk to you guys next week.